Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Hello and welcome to another Between Takes episode of Missing Frames. I'm your host, Shawn Eastridge. We've got more interviews from the 2020 Atlanta Film Festival for you. I was beyond excited, beyond in all caps, by the way, in case you didn't pick up on that, to talk with Danielle Deadwyler. She is just an amazing person, an amazing actress. My introduction to her was at the 2019 Atlanta Film Festival. I saw her in a film that was called Reckoning at the time. Now it's called The Devil to Pay, and it's going to be available on video on demand on October 6th. That's very, very soon, so you absolutely need to check it out. It's incredible. Oh, and by the way, I did also chat with the film's writers and directors, Ruckus and Lane Skye. They're great too. Go find that interview, give it a listen, and I'll give you a thumbs up because you earned it. Back to the point. So Danielle, she's awesome. She's an amazing actress. Aside from The Devil to Pay, which is just phenomenal, she's been in HBO's Watchmen series. Yes, Watchmen. She's also going to be in the upcoming Station 11 TV series, which is a book I desperately need to read. I have to read it before this TV series comes out. Now I have even more of a reason to. So in this interview, we talk about her experimental short film, CHORs. Or is it CHORs? And this premiered at the 2020 Atlanta Film Festival. Basically, it's a black woman with no face. Her hair's covering her face. She kind of dances and gyrates in all these different rooms in her house, and it's hypnotizing, it's creepy, and it's great. So Danielle and I discuss how the film is basically for her a representation of the black mother and the black woman. We talk about Alejandro Jodorowsky. I'm sure some of you are big fans of his. I need to get into his stuff. I haven't seen anything. I'm so sorry. Please don't hate me. But we talk about psychomagic and creative watching, how creative watching is kind of like creative reading, where you're a more active participant in what you're watching. And we also talk about the challenges of experimental filmmaking, like how far can you push things without alienating your audience. Danielle's wonderful. I had such a great time talking with her, and this was just such a blast. So I really hope that you enjoy listening.
Now available to own on video cassette.
Well, Danielle, well, first of all, I think we've established, is it okay that I call you Danny? We're like best friends, right?
BFFs for life.
For life, man, that's intense. This is great.
We've talked about everything. We've talked about movies. We've talked about farts of various, magnitudes. We're buddies.
We're ready for this. We probably should have recorded everything else that is.
You should have said, "Hey, I'm going to start recording. I'm recording." Boom, and then we'd have been fine.
And we would have been good. But it's all right. We're going to have to make it. We're just going to try to recreate the love and the energy, and it'll be perfect. But I was saying to you beforehand, and I'm getting it on the record now. But it's pretty great being a Danielle Deadwyler fan right now, because I saw you in this movie, The Devil to Pay, which is coming out soon. Let's plug that movie because, first of all, it's amazing. It was at the Atlanta Film Festival last year it was entitled Reckoning, and you're the star of it. It was great. Ruckus and Lane Skye wrote and directed it.
Wonderkins. But yeah, Devil to Pay, coming out October 2nd in drive-ins, if that's where you're trying to take your danger. And then October 6th, streaming.
There you go. So people need to watch this. And then also, like I was saying, and then I'm getting caught off guard watching Watchmen because I love that stuff. And then all of a sudden you're appearing in Watchmen, and it's taken me completely. I'm like, oh my God, I wasn't ready. I was already in love with this show, but now the love is on a whole other level. I wasn't ready for this. So it's a pretty good time to be a fan of yours. How are you doing? How do you feel about all this? It feels like you're like moving along.
Like I told you, it's like I'm high, I'm floating. I'm not doing drugs right now, but I'm chilling. It's just, you take it. It's calming. It's like hurricanes. You're in the middle and you're looking around and it's happening, and then you go, all right, well, that's what it looks like over here, and you just go with the flow.
And was filmmaking ever a part, like, were you, because with this film CHORs, which is now at the Atlanta Film Festival this year, it's a short film that you wrote, directed, and started. I don't know if you started it or if you found this like creature I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is.
Yeah. So it's interesting you chose CHORs, because it can play a couple ways. It could play as chorus too, because the E is in parentheses.
I was going to ask you that. I don't know if I was pronouncing it right or incorrectly.
No, you're doing right. I like things that have fluidity to them, that are not bounded, especially with regard to titles, and things that I explore as a filmmaker, as a performance artist. That's the stuff that's really interesting to me. And my experience as a Black woman has been one of various, like, myriad roles and identities. That's what humanity is, though, right? And so that's what chorus is. That's what chorus is. It's playing with the notion of chorus that derives from Saadia Hartman, who is an academic, and what does it mean to be a Black woman, and the people who you don't see doing their work. So I'm exploring that, and what it looks like for those people to come out of the boundary of what people think their work is. But it's me. It's my
surprise.
Somebody.
So have you been wanting to make films for a while? Is this just kind of like, is this your first short?
Well, it's in a way, it's the first like official short that I gathered and attracted the people who I wanted to work with. They said yes, and we got down to it in a much more higher like production capacity. It took the time to really like track the baby out. I've done other short form videos, but this is a different engagement. And it's stuff that I want to explore outside of like the more commercial dynamic of film and television. It's the stuff that gets to the core of what I explore personally and as an artist. Let's say it's a birth. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. This is the start of something new.
Yeah.
Something fresh and exciting. And I'm almost like, first of all, I was like, well, I want to chat with you because I watched it and I was just like amazed, slightly terrified, but also I'm like, I was kind of like watching it like super tense. Like I was like, oh God, am I, it's getting into horror movie season. We're moving into fall. So I was like, am I going to get attacked by something? Like this is intense. But there's, I'm a big fan of David Lynch. He's one of my favorite filmmakers. But I'm also a big fan of Guillermo del Toro. And the reason I bring these two filmmakers up.
Alejandro Jodorowsky?
No. Oh, I need to see more. You know what? I haven't seen enough of his movies. And I know.
And look, we're going to talk about movies that we need to have seen. But like, Jodorowsky does this, like, it's bigger than his films for me. It's his poetry. And it's his tarot reading. It's just the way that man slinks through the world, the way he oozes, and like the minute I began to encounter him, it had an impact on my life. The way that you can do a thing, you can do magic on yourself, and that's kind of what chorus and chores are, right? It's I don't even know what the fuck my title.
You don't even know what the name of your movie is.
See, but that's what it does, right? It like psycho magic was a thing that just introduced me to the way that you can work on yourself, the way you can, do magic to recreate your life. And in a way, that's what this film. It's a part of what this film is doing for me.
Well, part of the reason I almost didn't want to. Because here's the difference between like somebody like David Lynch and Guillermo del Toro. David Lynch is the kind of filmmaker who makes it and he's like, I'm not going to tell you what it's about. You figure it out. And Guillermo del Toro is like, let's talk about it. Here's what this meant. Here's what this color meant. So there's a part of me that watches this movie since it's so experimental. And since you're kind of trying to figure out, like, it's a movie that you kind of vibe with more than you almost understand. But I'm the kind of person who I don't need to understand something completely to engage with it. But for you, I was going to ask you, is it something where like when you show this to friends or when people watch it, are you more like the type of person who like David Lynch would be like, oh, no, you tell me what you think it is about? Or are you more like Del Toro where you're like, oh yeah, let's talk about it and I'll tell you exactly what each element means?
That's who I'm talking to. It's like, that's not my responsibility. In the same way, like, I was just listening to Gregory Orr on Being with Krista Tippett talking about, creative reading. I'm like, creative, you've got creative writing. Now there's creative reading. Creative reading is interpretation, right? The active part of taking in someone's constructed words. And I thought I was like, that's bitchin'. That's what poetry does. And that's kind of what experimental short film is for me. That's what other films can be also, but like, it's a little bit more abstract. It's a little bit more raw. And I don't want to impose on you if you have a thing that's coming up for you in your experiencing of it. Now, if you're just desperate and you're trying to get into it, you know what I'm saying, you want to know what the ingredients are, fine. I will let you know there's some cardamom, there's some cinnamon, there's some kosher salt, but but it just depends. It depends on the person. Yeah. But most of the time I want you to dig. You know?
Yeah. I'm going to take a guess. You tell me how close I am, but you're talking about identity and the feeling of like, particularly as a Black woman, like, you know, identities that we don't see, or workers, or the type of person that isn't necessarily out there. So the vibe I got from it is we're seeing this being almost like a mother or something, and going through the daily elements of her life or its life. And just the way you have the dinner on the table, you have in the kitchen, you have like just relaxing in the bath, like, but there's this sense of movement, and there's no particular identity. So it's constant, even when you're relaxing, there's this sense of like unease, and like you can't quite relax if you're a mother or a housekeeper or something. Just this sense of constant movement. Is any of this making sense? Does any of it make sense?
Yeah.
Like, am I tuned in?
Were you a production assistant?
I feel like, are we tuned in? Am I hitting on anything close? Because that's what it feels like.
It is. It's an othering with even the things and the people and the voices that are not even present, right? There's no one present, but there's everyone present and seeking something from this othered body, right? Like I always walk from a Black woman's perspective, but to talk about the othering of the body, right? Like, you know, like that's how that body is treated in that space and in the space outside of there, you know? So yeah, there is no, even in the effort to get solace, that's a labor, you know, for that. Even in an effort to find some sense of pleasure, the intimacy of the bed, that's a labor. Like the magnitude of the layering of need of that body and the work of that body is unceasing. And that's debilitating. It's insane. And that's what it can drive you to. It drives you to a place of madness, a place of rage. And it's warranted. And you better watch the fuck out what happens as a result of it.
That's what I was gonna say. I was terrified, and by the end of it, when like it's just the body in the hall dancing around, and then you kind of reverse it a little bit. It looked like there was a little bit of reverse footage in there. So the movements are already very like jagged and jerky, and you're not quite sure. Like there's a sense of unease, and then when you reverse the footage a little bit, it looked like you amplify that even more. So I'm just sitting there like watching, like, oh no, is something gonna jump out at me? But that's what it felt like.
You feeling attacked, the body feel under attack, you know. But at the same time, like that's cool because you know I love chop and screw music. I love chopping and screwing, you know, imagery. Like that's a big thing for me. And it's a clarion call that there's a problem, in that it's a clarion call that something needs to be shifted, or you need to focus right here. You know, chop and slop. You know, that it slows it down so that you can hear this part, right? If this is really clear for all of you.
I heard Aretha in there. I heard some Aretha.
Yeah. And if you listen, well, I ain't even gonna tell you. Yeah,
don't tell me. Yeah.
I ain't gonna tell you. Just watch it again and just listen.
You use the music. It's so important because, like, you know, a lot of it is very repetitive. You know, that you're watching these scenes and you become so hypnotized by them, and the music is a part of that. And you play these very particular brief snippets of songs over and over again to the point where, like, you're just so tuned into what's happening. But there is that sense of you kind of, like you were saying, you're saying you need to focus in on this particular moment. But at the same time, do you feel a responsibility as you're showing it to people? Do you feel a responsibility to be like, do I need to cut? Like when you're making experimental films, sometimes you can get the sense of like disconnect from your audience. Is that something that you love? Like you're like, I want to feel that disconnect? Or do you feel like, no, maybe I need to cut things down a little bit to make it more accessible? Or are you just kind of going with the flow and what you feel is right? Like where do you draw the line between like, this is something I want to show somebody and I want them to understand, but I don't want it to be so off-putting that they just are like, well, get it at all, and I don't
Sometimes
connect with
you're
it.
working from a place of trying to of intentionally trying to be off-putting. I think that there's legibility in some aspects and illegibility, and whatever you get to grasp is what you get to grasp. My work is extremely personal and it's community centered. It's a particular cultural framework, but I'm not ever trying to say, I'm trying to bedazzle you. I don't want you to get nothing. Like, towards the access, right?
Now I hear what you're saying.
But I also I look at short form work, regardless of whether it's experimental or not, as a form of poetry, right? I've always thought I got my MFA in creative writing with a focus in poetry. It's always been my thing. I think that you can do more with less. I think that you can, allow more echoing and reverberation with a more decisively precision-based frame or sound or whatever comes into it. Like that's just I'm interested in fragments and not long form.
Yeah.
I mean, I might get to it, right? But it's gonna feel like poetry the whole way.
Yeah. It's not something concrete where it's like, oh yeah, there's a beginning, middle, and end. It's more about what you're feeling and like, what do these things pull out of you? Like pulling the emotions out. Because like you said, the beauty of the abstract is because there isn't a concrete, like this is what it means. The audience almost has to play a more active role.
Ha! Look at that. Like creative watching. Let's go there, Gregory. Or, you got creative writing, creative reading, creative watching. Like, let's activate nothing. Let's not let this be passive. Oh, I'm gonna have to watch it again. And then every time you click in, your brain is moving in this extremely nonlinear manner, and which is the way life is, right? Nothing is like 1, 2, 3. That's a lie. It's 1, a billion, 2,478. It's popping around, and that feels more connected to me as a person when I'm trying to explore shit that's important to me, as opposed to, commercial stuff. That stuff can grip you.
Yeah.
There's value to all of it, but yeah, that's what I'm playing with.
But you think if you were to move into something even a little bit more standard, like a standard narrative, you would still maintain those elements of like unease and experimentation. Like you wouldn't want it to be so straightforward. It sounds to me like you're like, no, I want it to freak people out. How exhausting was it to shoot all that? Because it looks like you're doing continuous takes of these movements, and I'm watching it, and like there's a part of me in the back of my mind, because I'm a film fan and I love learning about how films are made, but there's also this part of me that like I just think about like, oh, you were moving so much, and like it's continuous long single takes of just these very intense movements.
Well, it's akin to like southern hip hop bands, right? The Bankhead Bounce and the Rag Top and like all of those, like that kind of childhood, teenagehood, body language was important to me. It rings true in my day-to-day life, and it rang true in watching people do it at the time and registering the experience of my mother and what was happening in her motherhood. You find the metaphorical parallels, right? Like we rag topping, but your mama, she rag topping another kind of way. She bankhead bounce in another kind of way. So I'm always interested in the endurance and what the body is capable of, and what does that communicate to family, to community, to non-community folks, but who are present. And so hell yeah, I did hella long ass takes, but that's exciting. Same thing happened with Watchmen. We would be doing these things. We would do a scene for 20 minutes. Well, I'm used to it. Let's go. So I'm bouncing for excessive amounts of takes and diversifying the way the movement comes out. I want to see what becomes of me, and it's forced me to, or encouraged me to make different choices in my waking life, in my real life. Yeah. That's why it's psychomagic. It's like, oh, you're going to get shoulder pain. You're going to need a massage, a therapist, or whatever. You're going to need a change, though.
And there's no sense of like going outdoors. It's almost like this entity, the mother, she's tethered to this. There's no escape in a way. There's no escaping from this world, and that seems very intentional as well. There's almost a claustrophobia in it, where it's just like you're so like, you've got to do these things. Their dinner needs to be on the table. And even in your moments of solace and peace, you still are, there's that movement and that sense of like your duty is to something else. But like,
I mean, there's a joy in doing it too, right? That's the weirdness of it. That's the complexity of it. And the only way out is in, right? Like everybody says that. Take y'all ass to the therapist because it's gonna help, you know. Yeah, I mean, and then that's the only, because like I play with hair a lot or anonymity a lot, because I don't want people to think about me. I want people to consider the anachronistic experience of a body that looks like mine or could look like mine. Let's traverse history. Let's traverse your present. Let's think about what the futures of bodies like this look like. Like that's what I'm toying with, and I allow a bit of breaking that wall in this, but only at the last moment and only at the breaking, because that's when you get to come into a new self.
How long did it take to shoot this? How many people? There weren't that many. There
were
what, a day?
It was a day in the West End. This lovely home, you know, one of those bungalows. It's a bungalow I kind of like grew up in. Like, this community used to be historically Black, but now in Atlanta it's being gentrified, which has a whole nother thing to it. But yeah, we shot it in a day. I think it was less than 10 people. I work with small crews. Then my people riding with my community that I've been riding with is Brandon Williams. I worked with Brandon a long time. Ebony Blanding. James Frazier is part of the camp crew too. So Sadal J, big time homie, came and do some stills. And it's just, you know, folks who I've known and folks who care for me in a certain way and who care for my work. Like, it's a reflection of all of us trying to take it to another level artistically, and then take it to another level within the relationships that we have.
And what kind of challenges were you facing in there?
The hardest thing is you're always trying to be respectful of homes and like trying to get the best shot and moving things around, because, you know, personal items are still present. But I don't think there was a major challenge. The major challenge is, does this make sense to you? And are you communicating what you want? Are we getting, is this the shot? This is the shot? Okay, this is the shot. Everybody gonna eat? Like, it's taking care of people. I think that's the thing. It's not, and that's not a challenge, but that's like, we're doing a work about Black womanhood and Black motherhood and the challenges that come with that. And then a film set is like that. You're taking care of people, or rather everybody's taking care of each other.
You know what's crazy? That comes through in the movie too. Is as crazy, I feel that sense of like, it does radiate this almost maternal warmth in a way. It's in a sense of like, I'm taking care of you and I'm looking out for you and that kind of thing. So I did get that. What are some of the things that surprise you the most about people's reactions to it? Or maybe when you kind of finally saw it, did it like come out the way you imagined it? Or were you constantly surprised and even surprised by the final product? Was it like, oh, that was something, there are elements in there that I didn't even realize I was trying to convey?
You know what I'll say, the actual challenge, getting the sonic aspect down was the bigger thing, because it was like I heard something in my head and I needed that to come out. And so we worked with a couple of different DJs to get that to where it needed to be, but I literally had to like just do the sounds with my voice.
Really?
So I'm just like, don't
oh, that's you.
Like, I did that for like, I did like 3 minutes worth of it just so they could get, you know, the vibe of what I wanted. So.
Well, that's this brings up another good point. I was going to ask, as you're working with other people and trying to bring them in, how hard is it to convey, especially with a project like this, where it isn't like it's A, B, C, and D. It's a little bit like, what does this mean? What does that mean? And trying to invite everybody into your head a little bit, like a little bit more than you would with a standard narrative.
Yeah, that's why words didn't matter. Like, you can try to communicate that. I did that a couple of times. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just let you know what it sounds like to me, right? Like, which, you know, that's taking us outside of the standard, taking us outside of the commercial. Let me show you what this feels like. So that you can get the vibe of that. That was the bigger thing. Sitting in the house and because that's what we did first. We didn't do sound. Sound wasn't like also being done. I was like, it's an after effect, right? It's something that layers over the need of the body. And so I was sitting there and I said, just play it. And so he played it. And I was telling the audio engineer going in, I was just doing the sounds whilst the video was going. And so that got them in the vibe of what, how to get to it more succinctly.
Do you have ideas about what you want to do next, or are you just kind of taking a break and focusing on acting right now?
I'm always doing multiple things. I don't know why I choose to continue to do that. That's a lie. I know why I choose to continue to do that, because that's been a habit and a practice that I witness, and motherhood does that, right? So, but I know how to flow with it now. I know how to balance. So it's less strenuous and less reflective of madness on the body. But I do know. It's prep mode, right? I'm doing more performance art. I have some of that coming. I got an exhibition in January at Mint Gallery.
Awesome. Here in Atlanta?
In Atlanta, yeah.
I need to come check that out.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I think you should.
I think I should.
So yeah, but then more short form work that has a peculiar non-narrative to it.
Are you I get the sense, are you working on stuff right now? I feel like I get the sense that like there's something working in there, some ideas.
It's always ruminating. I swear to God, it takes at least 6 months to a year just to get the damn concept out. People like, I'm charging because I'm charging. It takes that long because I'm also like, because I'm doing other things, right? I'll be here for a while, working on this film. I got the exhibition. Those things are finishing up, right? Like, and I'm moving into material making.
But it's nice the way the art kind of feeds. Like it's
they're
awesome.
talking to
Yeah. And it's awesome because you get to like I was saying, it's so cool to watch your career and kind of see like there's this momentum right now. It feels like with a lot of the projects you're doing.
I feel like looking at it too.
It's great though. But it's nice because what you can do is it all feeds into each other. So it's like you get to work on these projects and you get to do like with your acting career and doing these things like Watchmen or The Devil to Pay or like Station 11 that's coming out. And then you at the same time, that feels almost like a means to then go back and do these things like the short film and these exhibitions. And like it all speaks to each other and feeds into it. And all these experiences, like you say, they enrich each other. Something that you learn from this project then can show up in something more mainstream that you're doing.
It's a long running conversation with myself and with others. I'm never not trying to engage the community and trying all of the communities that I get to be a part of. So it's an honor to do, it's crazy. It's beautiful. It's all those things.
Well, what kind of advice would you give to somebody trying to do the same thing, particularly like a young Black girl trying to get into acting and filmmaking? What advice would you give her from your perspective?
I didn't want to be an actor. I didn't think about it. Like I have to start there first. Like, art has just always been a part of my life. My mother says she saw me dancing in front of the TV to Soul Train. Oh, let me put that baby in dance. So dance was my first medium. So that's why everything moves through the body. Dance is very much like theater. Dance became theater. Those are the two things that vibe together. They rode me through, high school, and TV was a part of my public access. TV was a part of my my high school experience because we had. So they just, there's also something like incredibly spiritual and serendipitous about like everything that's happened to me. I kind of allowed myself to flow to these things, not rushing it. So patience is very, very important to the experience of being an actor, to the experience of being an artist in general. Walk with that quality, because that'll allow you to be a listener, which is extremely important, not just as an actor, but as a human being. The tenets of being a human are very much applicable to that of being an artist. Just begin to play, begin to experiment, and no one's standards define you, not even mine. Mine are mine, but yours will come together, and they will be, when they make sense and you figure it out, like it's like you're cracking the code of yourself, and that's dope.
So Danny, am I still allowed to call you Danny? Are we still good? Are we still on Danny terms?
Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
So this is the last question for you. So on my podcast, Missing Frames, we watch all the movies we should have seen by this point in our lives. What movie do you know you need to have seen that you haven't seen?
Okay. I've seen this all the time. People reference the magnanimous scene all the time, and I ain't seen it. Ten Commandments.
Uh-oh. Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston. I ain't seen it. But wait, I seen the snippets. Have I seen the movie in totality? No.
It's a long movie. It's like a 3-4 hour movie, so I don't hold it against you. But it's a classic, so definitely check it out someday. Not now. You're busy. You got stuff to do.
No, I can take 3-4 hours out of the day.
That sounds good. Well, you'll have to let me know what you think when you do it. But Danny, thank you so much again. This is such a pleasure. The movie is awesome, and I can't wait to see more, not only from your acting career, but from your filmmaking career too. So thank you for chatting with me.
With the bomb.